Their accomplishments span 3 decades of Winter Olympics. It began with Dorothy Hamill in '76. The '80s were the golden age of Katarina Witt. Oksana Baiul and Kwan are the ladies of the '90s. Boitano won gold in 1988. The Russians, as always, have dominated in dance in pairs. And the vibrant Felipe Candeloro is a 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. These individuals join other Olympic and world champions as they tour from city to city and into the hearts of thousands of Americans. The daily schedule is tiring, but the bond of friendship far surpasses that of mere fatigue. TBS Superstation is proud to present a chapter in this 1999 voyage across America. Welcome to the Schottenstein Center in Columbus, Ohio, for the 1999 winter tour of FTD Champions on Ice. Hello, everybody. I'm Tracy Wilson. The first tour began 30 years ago. It was started by a man named Tom Collins, and his concept was simple: bring the best skaters in the world together to tour. Concept hasn't changed much, but it is thriving. And today we'll see one of the most decorated groups of skaters that I've ever seen in one show. Collectively, this group holds 13 Olympic gold medals and 74 World Championship medals. This group also spans 7 Olympic Games. I'm joined by 2 more Olympic medalists, Rosalind Sumners and Peter Carruthers. And Peter, are you impressed by this group of skaters?
Trace, impressed. I'm totally blown away, and I'm really looking forward to the ladies' lineup in this show, beginning with Olympic gold medalist Dorothy Hamill, who brings glamour and beauty to the ice every time that she's on it. She is truly a great champion. And then 2-time Olympic gold medalist Katarina Witt, who's able to portray many different characters and styles whenever she's on the ice. She is also wonderful to watch. And then the current world champion Kwan, who has her own unique style and great technical perfection within her skating. So for me, Trace and Roz, I love the fact that we're seeing ladies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s come together in one show.
And Peter, don't forget Olympic gold medalist Oksana Baiul. She is showing a new strength and happiness in her skating. The last 5 years she's had some growing pains, but she's putting those difficulties behind her, and it's this tour that is giving her that newfound confidence. 2 of the biggest names in men's figure skating history, Brian Boitano and Victor Petrenko. They are both here tonight, and they are both sporting Olympic gold medals. And these 2 men are showmen, but they are still proving that they can go out there and be the best technically and physically. In fact, Brian goes out there every night to prove that he can still do what he did in Calgary in 1988. It's amazing.
Well, Rosalind, it's that attitude that Brian Boitano has. It is the inspiration of so many of the skaters on this tour. With more, let's join the 4th member of our broadcast team, Alice Cook.
Well, I'm joined by a couple of skaters who happen to be very good friends, Kwan and Brian Boitano. Michelle, I know as a young skater you always looked up to Brian. Why was that?
I don't know, because he was always snobby and not nice.
And taller.
No, he's just a great guy, and I remember watching '88 Olympics, and I was just in awe. And he made me want to go to the Olympics.
Your down year, 1997, Brian was there for you. What kind of things did you do with Michelle and tell Michelle during that period?
Well, there was one point where Michelle was getting on for the short program to skate, and she looked up and she saw me, and she sort of broke her concentration, and she looked surprised, and she's like, oh, like she wanted to say hi. And all I didn't want her to break her concentration, so I looked back at her and I went like this.
I remember
And she went like this,
too.
her expression went, and that she knew what I was telling her, subliminally.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think you have a similar approach to skating?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. She has the same sort of ritual before she skates as me, sort of finding that quiet place, not moving around. A lot of skaters move around, hit their thighs, and get really hyped up. We have to find that place of peace before we skate, so that we're really grounded when we get out there.
I can't be talking to people before I go. Yeah, it's just, you have to concentrate on what you have to do on the ice, so you can't be like jabbering to somebody or breaking your concentration.
And now your friendship has blossomed. Is he like a big brother to you? Does he call you up and chat and things like
he's
that?
a big brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Keep it up, guys. Thank you.
And I'm jealous of her hair. Look at her haircut. Look at all that hair.
Oh, no,
I want hair
be all
just like that.
Help him out with that, okay?
Okay.
Opening tonight's performance, the 1998 Olympic pairs champions from Russia, Oksana and Artur Dmitriev, skating to a little Frank Sinatra, Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Fantastic. You just can't lose when you pick Frank Sinatra, and on top of that, skate very well to it. You know, in 1995, they came together, and in the skating world, we weren't so sure at that time. But 3 short years later, they proved to the world that they were the best when they won the gold medal. Kazakova and Dmitriev.
There are many more Olympic champions still to come. We'll be back after this. Thanks, Bob. And on the ice now, the 1988 Olympic silver medalist. She has been a member of the Tom Collins Tour since the mid-'80s. Here is Elizabeth Manley skating to Tower of Power.
To the land of joy, it's all so simple.
Well, Liz is a very expressive and energetic skater, and she really pulls the audience into her performance. Most importantly, she is still competitive against the young skaters that are coming out today. She's more popular than ever.
On the ice now, two-time Olympic champion. She said she had such a positive response to the Playboy pictorial that came out recently. She said it was like winning a third Olympic gold. 33 years of age, here is Katarina Witt. The music is Angel.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction.
Wow, what a nicely paced program. 2 Olympic gold medals, movies, magazines. It seems like Katarina's done it all, and I saw her in the gym this morning, and I asked her, Kat, how many more years are you going to skate? She said, well, if I can, I'd like to skate 10 more years. So if she has anything to say about it, more skating, not a one-dimensional person in any way, shape, or form.
He was a 1984 Olympic bronze medalist, known for his jumps, was landing quads in the mid-'80s. As a professional, he's earned the nickname of Jumpin' Joe. Here is Joseph Zabovchik. The music is Weak by Rod Stewart.
Lost in time, I can't count the words I said when I thought
Jumpin' Joe with those Russian splits, back flip, and triple jumps. Very different type of skater. His choice of music, always hard rock. But he has a flair and a sex appeal that really comes from the heart.
She won her Olympic gold medal 23 years ago yesterday. Here is Dorothy Hamill. She's skating to the mamas and the papas.
While I'm far away from you, my baby, I know it's hard for you, my baby, because it's hard for you, my baby, and the dark side is just me for love.
I still find myself mesmerized by Dorothy's skating just as much now as I did in 1976 when I was really just beginning my quest for any kind of medals. I used her as my role model, and I still do today.
Especially for me, it's something everybody needs. Each night before you go
Dorothy has such a beautiful, clean quality to her skating. It's almost like her blades never really touch the ice. Beautiful.
At 42, Dorothy is the veteran of this tour and continues to lead by example. We're back at FTD Champions on Ice. Here's the 1996 world champion from the United States, Todd Eldridge. Todd is skating to music from the Broadway musical Les Miserables.
Now my friends are dead and gone. Here they talk of revolution. Here it was and lit the flame. Here they sang about tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. From the table in the corner, they could see a world before, and they rose with voices ringing, and I can hear cannot be spoken. There's a pain goes on. Phantom faces at the window. Phantom shadows on the floor. Empty chairs, empty tables, where my friends will meet no more.
Well, there's a perfect example of what Rosalind was talking about earlier. People that keep their technical skills up while in show format skating. He did a huge triple axel. His spins are superb. After the Olympics, he went on to win a silver at the Worlds. He won the Goodwill Games. This is a man who never gives up. Todd Eldridge, outstanding performance.
He's the 1996 world bronze medalist and U.S. champion. 29 years of age. Here is Rudy Galindo. You'll recognize the music. It's a medley of the Village People's greatest hits.
Well, Trace, add one more standing ovation to Rudy Galindo's accomplishments. There's a man who loves to do what he does. He is totally uninhibited out there, and that's what makes him so successful.
I'm here with Rudy Galindo. That routine brings the house down every time. What is it about that program?
I don't know. I think it's very popular throughout America. Everyone knows the Village People. And no matter what you do, it's always a fun number, and they're always going to clap and stomp, even if there's no one on the ice, but my skating helps.
Your sister Laura, who's also your coach, just had a baby.
Tyler.
You're an uncle. That's meant a lot to you, hasn't it?
It does. I miss him so much, and now he's my new inspiration before skating. I love him a lot.
And do you call your sister so that you can hear the little cooing over the phone?
Always. I call my sister now about 15 times a day instead of 2 times a day.
It's really something, huh?
It is. It's amazing. It's great.
You really like this show skating, don't you? You're cut out for it.
I'm definitely cut out as a professional. Much better than amateur skating.
You really enjoy it.
I really
enjoy it too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rudy.
This dance team has won an Olympic medal of every color. Bronze in 84, silver 88, gold in 92. From Russia, Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko. Their music is Evergreen by Luther Vandross.
Love, soft as an easy chair. Love, fresh as the morning air. One love that is shared by two. I have like a rose under the April sun. I was always certain love, ages and evergreen, seldom seen by two. So you and I will make each night a first. Every day a beginning, yeah. Spirits rise and they're dancing on rivers. They warm and excite us, yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause we have love. Ageless and ever.
There are so many keys to longevity in this sport. One of them, the most important, is passion. Marina and Sergey have that every time they step on the ice. They've been married since 1984 and have a 1-year-old son. Very graceful. Wonderful.
'92 Olympic champion Viktor Petrenko. He now lives in Simsbury with his wife Nina, and this program was choreographed by Viktor and his wife. A little bit of Michael Jackson.
Well, that's how you grow as a performer. You try new things. I never knew Victor was such a great dancer. You know, it may be Michael Jackson choreography, but you still have to adapt it onto the ice. That's always a challenge. His wife, Nina, has been instrumental in that. They're quite a team.
What about that moonwalk, eh, Roz? I think it's easier on the ice.
I think it is.
For his performance, Whirlpool awards it's job well done. She was 6th at the World Championships in Minneapolis in 1998. Now skates as a professional and sporting a new look. Here is 28-year-old Tanya Kwiatkowski skating to Janet Jackson, Black Cat.
Of amateur competition off, no rules, no regulations. Tanya is just out there to explore a whole new side of her personality. This is such a great look for her.
Tanya Kwiatkowski, she comes from Broadview Heights, Ohio, skating to friends and family. On the ice now, the 5-time U.S. dance champions. Here are Elizabeth Punseland and her husband, Jared Swallow, taking us back to the 60s with Sonny and Cher.
The beat goes on. Beat goes on. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La-da-da-da-dee, la-da-da-da-da. Charleston was once the radio. then it's the current thing. Goes on, the beat goes on. Drums keep pounding rhythm to the brain. La-di-da-di-dee, la-di-da-di-da. And the beat goes on, yes, the beat goes on. And the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. Goes on.
Traffic violation. Separate the hippies.
I love it. A little throwback to Sonny and Cher. Well, they've retired from Olympic-eligible skating, but what that world loses, we certainly pick up in the entertainment world of skating. Jared and Liz, husband and wife, delightful.
When we come back, world champion Michelle Kwan. During the 40 City Tour this winter, Philippe Candeloro has the distinct pleasure of making some lucky individual in each city a little happier. This bouquet was designed by one of the local FTD florists as part of a special program. The recipient of the bouquet was randomly selected in Columbus, as well as at all other tour stops. It's appropriate that the romantic character of D'Artagnan, Philippe's Olympic hero, should be the presenter. The Romance of Valentine's Day, FTD and Philippe Candeloro, the perfect match. She is the skater of today and the future. Here is world champion Michelle Kwan. She skates to Carmen.
is Michelle's short program that she'll be using in the eligible competitive events that she's entered into. And it's very unusual to see a skater doing a short program with all of the elements in an exhibition. But that just shows how Michelle Kwan continues to push herself and her skating. Michelle was named 1998 Sportswoman of the Year and 1998 Female Athlete of the Year by the U.S. Olympic Committee. And I'm sure Michelle is not done giving to us as an audience from her heart. I'm sure the accolades are still going to pour in.
FTD Champions on Ice will continue after this. When a group of individual athletes gather to travel and perform together, a family begins to blossom. Between performances, time is spent with conversation, games, and perhaps a personal psyching for your turn in the spotlight. For Joseph Zabovchik, it is a chance to be challenged in table tennis by his son Blade. Although Katarina Witt and Michelle Kwan were not with the tour as it began its 40-city journey in early January, those who left Boston knew the many sacrifices ahead and the new family being formed.
It's nice to turn all the transportation and driving over to someone else so you can just concentrate on the job at hand every evening.
This is the half tour. No, just kidding.
Here you are in our own little world. Now you're lucky because not a lot of people will get to see this. Here, come in. All of our outfits are here, standing. Believe me, after a few shows, we like to have those far away from us. Perfect clean face, no makeup.
There's something about you. I heat up, I can't cool down. My situation goes. I heat up, I can't cool down. My situation goes. I heat up, I can't cool down. My situation goes.
Come on with me. See how long it takes. Can you believe just 5 minutes?
Half hour, everybody, half hour.
Let's get this started now. Let's get this started now.
No doubt. Do you wanna bounce?
Let's get this started now.
5 minutes, ladies.
Do you wanna bounce?
Let's get this started now.
Bada bing, here we go.
I like to meditate a lot, and especially for myself, I'm just trying to concentrate for my number. I love to perform. I'm an actress, you know, on the ice, so I like to be different all the time.
Before the step on the ice, I still get nervous because when I see the spotlight and I see the people sitting and waiting to me to present my program, I still nervous because you don't know what to expect.
Sometimes the day is long, but when we are on the ice, we take pleasure and we have a lot of fun with the public when we skate. So that's the favorite part for me.
Roll it again. Yeah, can't wait to get on the road again.
And just think tomorrow we get to do this all over again. Good night.
Hope he's had a good night's sleep. Actually, he's looking better rested today. Here is a veteran of this tour, 1988 Olympic champion, Brian Boitano. His music is Funky Mama by Danny Gatton.
look for Brian, very unique choreography, but his respect comes in the fact he's never rested, not once. He's continued to push himself technically, and this audience knows it. He's been bothered by some back problems only because of those jumps, and yet he never gives into it.
At the age of 16, Oksana Baiul won her gold medal at the 1994 Winter Olympics. Little did she realize then what a difficult journey lay ahead. A millionaire and skating queen to the public, the demons of alcoholism lay beneath the surface. In January of 1997, she was charged with driving under the influence. Since that time, Oksana has been in rehab twice, and today she faces the greatest challenge of her 21-year-old life.
It's never over, first of all. It's never over because it's still here, it's still with me, and it's my problem. It's so hard to be true to yourself sometimes, but I did it. That's what I'm proud of, So it's like when I'm going back, my brains, my soul, my legs, my body feel so together. That's what I was working on it when I was in rehab. And I spent there more time than what I needed, but I wanted to be sure, like 100% sure, I can go back and I can start working again. I wanted to feel good, I wanted to live. And what I realized, the alcohol was really making me be a weak person, and I don't want that anymore in my life.
A man who is instrumental in getting Oksana into rehab is the tour founder and executive producer, Tom Collins. And as she says, she's fighting it daily. She's thrown herself into her training, and I think it's really been evident in the strength of her skating this year. Here is Oksana Baiul skating to a Bach medley.
taking her skating in a very dramatic direction. Feeling very solid with the jumps. Really drawing this crowd in. A whole new look for Oksana.
And a warm ovation from this audience. We'll be back with more right after this.
Up next, Maya Usova and Yevgeny Platov. Yevgeny, two-time Olympic champion with Pasha Grishak. Maya, former world champion with her former husband, Sasha Zulin. Together, they're undefeated in competition. Music is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, the movie that came out in the early 60s.
Boy, I'll tell you, it makes you a great fan of ice dancing to see these two together, only together since July of '98, but they've had such a long history with other partners that when they did come together, they instantly were great ice dancers. Their connection together, the smooth flowing edges bring a true joy to every performance.
1998 World Professional Champions Maya Usova and Yevgeny Platov.
From France, here is a two-time Olympic bronze medalist, Philippe Candeloro. studio 54. Like I said, Bee Gees come to life. 27 years of age, Philippe Candeloro of France. There's a lot more to come. We'll be right back.
Five-time European champion from France, 25 years of age. Here is Surya Bonaly. She's skating to Allegra by Cirque du Soleil.
Well, now a professional, Surya continues to push herself physically. 5 triples in this exhibition program. She has never been one to apologize for her daring style and her in-your-face attitude. But it's a forceful package on the ice, and it gains so much respect from her peers.
She's probably best known for throwing in an illegal backflip at the end of her program at the Olympics. She knew she'd be penalized, but she says, I just wanted the audience to remember me. Olympic champion, Dorothy Hamill. The music is Claire de Lune.
Well, it's my pleasure to be joined by Dorothy Hamill, my teammate in the 1976 Olympics. Was it really 23 years ago?
It was. I hate to tell you.
Unbelievable. One of my memories from that Olympics were all the telegrams you received before and after. What do you remember about that time?
I remember that. I remember the night before the long program, receiving the stack of telegrams and thinking that they were friends, and they weren't. I had never met these people, and they were all wonderful well-wishers, and I remember thinking, actually starting to cry that night, thinking, holy smokes, you know. I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders then, because, you know, it was a lot different in those days, as you know.
What's this like for you to be skating on a tour with an 18-year-old like tonight with Michelle Kwan?
It's a humbling experience, that's all I can say. It's great. It's really nice to have so many generations of Olympic champions here, so it's fun. It's fun to watch, fun to be part of it.
42 years old and still going strong. How are you doing it?
Well, I don't get to practice enough. That's the hardest part. You know, everything hurts now. Remember in the old days I could go out and fall and it never hurt. Now when I fall, it hurts, so I have to be careful not to fall too many times.
I haven't seen her fall too many times, skating as well as she's ever skated. And from one Olympic skating legend to another, here is Katarina Witt. The music is Rescue Me by Bell, Book and Candle.
Well, the '84 Olympics in Sarajevo seemed like just yesterday. I'm proud to have stood on the podium with Katarina Witt. Nobody opened the door for Katarina when she competed behind the Iron Curtain, and she continues to open those doors for herself with her hard work and her dedication towards this sport. It's so great to see.
With 2 Olympic bronze medals to their credit, it would appear that Isabelle Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler have few worlds yet to conquer. But last summer, they discovered another more challenging obstacle to face in the future.
Last year when I was on Champions on Ice in the summer tour in Chicago, something happened in the hotel, and it seemed like a seizure. And they rushed me to the hospital, and I spent 2 days there. And they took great care of me, and they came with the idea that maybe I was epileptic. But after like a lot of tests and seeing a lot of neurologists and doing all kind of tests, they figured out it had nothing to do with epilepsy, and what it had to do is with my heart. So I went from neurologist to cardiologist, and what I really have is called vasodepressive syncope, which means that my heart, for no reason apparently, if I just sit here or anything like that, my heart would start beating really fast, my blood vessels would open, but because I'm just sitting, there's no blood flow going through. So what it does is my brain sends a message to my heart saying, okay, you can slow down, nothing is happening. And that message is too strong, and my heart goes really down to the point of stopping, so that I faint, and then I have convulsion. So we've been dealing with that and trying to find out what it is, because it was pretty scary, because we didn't really know what it was.
Isabel and Lloyd now skating to a popular piece of music by Sweet, Ballroom Blitz.
Be the ballroom blitz, but it's more like the 4th of July fireworks when Lloyd and Isabel are on the ice. And one spectacular move that they do is this one. They start off what's called a hydrant lift, and then he catches her. She does a somersault out of this lift. It is spectacular. The number one word that Isabel has for Lloyd, trust.
'93 world champs Isabelle Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler.
I'm joined by Isabelle Brasseur and her partner Lloyd Eisler. Obviously, you have no fear, Isabelle.
I try not to think about it. You know, people ask me, do you think about it? And if I start having, being afraid and things like that, I won't do it and I won't try it. But if I don't think about it, usually I enjoy it out there and I'm not too scared.
Isabelle, you've been skating with this heart condition. Do you worry about the danger in that?
I don't, because we did a lot of tests and a lot of medical things, doctors and everything, and we found out exactly what it was, and it shouldn't affect me skating. Usually it's when I'm at rest that there might be some danger, and the only thing that can affect me right now is the medication. It slows my body a little bit, my muscle, because my body doesn't get as much oxygen, so that's the only thing we have to work on, but we're doing pretty good, and we're just going to deal with it, and hopefully everything's going to go for the best.
Do you worry about your partner, Lloyd?
No, I think that, over the past 12, 13 years that she's more than proven herself, and I think as long as she's comfortable with what we're doing, then we do it, and I rely on her judgment, and, we come in some days and she says, I'm really tired today, can we, take it easy or whatever, we take it easy, We're at a different point in our career where every day is not a training day, If we get something done and it's artistic or come up with music or whatever, then it's a good day, so I really rely on what she says, and if she says it's great, then we keep doing it. So as long as she's feeling healthy and wants to do it, then we'll keep doing things.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're back in Columbus, Ohio for the FTD Champions on Ice. And here is Brian Boitano skating to the music of Frank Sinatra.
It's very nice to go traveling to Paris, London, and Rome. It's oh so nice to go traveling, but it's so much nicer, yes, it's so much nicer to come home. It's very nice to be footloose with just a toothbrush and comb. It's oh so nice to be footloose, but your heart starts singing when you're homeward winging across the foam. And your fate is where the Empire State is. All you contemplate is the view from Miss Liberty's dome. It's very nice to go traveling, but it's oh so nice to come home. No more packing and unpacking. Traveled on when hope was gone to keep a rendezvous. I knew somewhere, sometime, somehow you'd look at me and I would see the smile you're smiling. No more will I go around the world, for I have found my world in you. I have found my worth in you. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Just say the words and we'll beat the birds down to Acapulco Bay. It's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. Come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Pack up, let's fly away.
21 professional competitive titles, and that Tano Lutz, the triple Lutz with the hand over the head, strong and solid as ever.
Best of friends and a terrific team. When we come back, world champion Michelle Kwan. On the ice now, Olympic silver medalist and world champion Michelle Kwan. She skates to East of Eden.
One of the hardest things for a skater is to let every movement feel the music and let the music guide you through the performance. Now, Michelle has absolutely mastered this with the trust she has gained through absolute training and repetition. Incredible.
Showing a lot of maturity for 18 years of age. Michelle Kwan. The Olympic dream started for Michelle Kwan back in 1988 when she watched in awe Brian Boitano win his Olympic gold medal. In 1997, when Michelle lost her world title, it was Brian Boitano that was there with the words of encouragement that she needed to find her way back. Today, good friends continue to inspire each other. FTD Champions on Ice, created by Tom Collins and so affectionately called Tommy's Tour by the skaters. Roz and Peter, I first met you both in the early 80s on Tommy's Tour.
Well, I think this is where I learned how to have fun with my skating, to get away from the competitive pressure, and I learned how to be a performer, how to be an entertainer, night after night.
Trace, I've had a ball. The music was exceptional, the variety and style, and I'll tell you, the audience participation is what makes this show great.
For Alice Cook, Rosalind Sumners, and Peter Carruthers, I'm Tracy Wilson. Good night, and thanks for watching.
Anything to feel it coming. Do you wake up on your own? I wonder where you are and live with all your faults. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all, so why don't you slide? The life you kill, the priest is on the phone. Your father hit the wall, your mom disowned you. Don't suppose I'll ever know what it means to be a man, or something I can change. I live around here. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all, so why don't you slide? Dream to be complete, little pieces of the nothing that fall. Oh man, put your arms around me. What you feel is what you are, and what you are is beautiful. Oh man, you wanna get married or run away? I wanna wake up where you are.
Thank you.